Oh, there we are. Hello, we are live, live, live. Yes, indeed. Is it time yet? Oh, we've got a couple of minutes to wait. Hello, hello, Bay Lady here. How is everyone on this almost summer day? We're still the beginning of June, so it's not quite summer yet. Though it feels calendar summer. I think that doesn't occur till the 20th or 21st of June. And what is today? The 6th or 5th or something like that. Anywho, so here I am about ready to start here. Um, what time is it? Oh, okay. It's time to rock. All right. So then, let me tell you and give you my little spiel here. So, first of all, I'm the Bay Lady, and I cover the Chesapeake Bay area of Maryland. It has a lot of really cool places, and Ellicott City, right here, is one of them. Ellicott City is a very old town established in 1772, and it's had a very successful lifespan. There are a lot of good things that happen. And of course, as good as it gets, sometimes that's as bad as it gets as well. Just a brief history. And actually, let me turn the camera around here so that there's some things I would like to show you. Get me back. uh, All right, let's see what's happening here. There we are. Get back in there. Enter in the studio. I think, okay, yes, this is good. Thank you very much. Move on. All right. Why am I only on part of the screen? I do not know what that is about. Oh gosh, I have no guess. One of the best. No. Um, okay. Now I don't know why um my screen is so small. That does not work. Hey, hello from USA to Helsinki, Poland. Very nice to make your acquaintance. Let me see if this will help me here. Camera. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, all right. I think we got it here. Okay. Okay, where they go? Oh no. You know, folks, sometimes life can be challenging. All right. Yeah, how come we're not so big? I don't understand. Um, nope, that probably wasn't good. Oh, I don't know what I did, but it's fixed. Okay. Um, except that I I need you to turn around here. So hold on. I think I'm getting an echo through here also. What is up with that? Okay. All right. Hang on. Let's see. All right. Camera. Where to go? What? Okay. All right. Camera. I got to turn it around. My picture's not working still. Well, that kind of sucks. Okay, guys, you still there? Lordy, this is very, very, very annoying. I don't know why. Let's see. Move from here. Solo. Nope, that didn't help me either. Well, anyway, okay. I'm just going to go on with it. I hope your picture is bigger than mine. That's all I can say. But at least I am on now. I wasn't before, so that's a good thing. All right. All right. So now here I have to turn the camera around and hope it doesn't cost me my picture again. Now it's back to that funky thing. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. There we go. All right. Now, one more thing I have to do is connect this baby to my gimbal, and we are good to go. All right. Let's see here. Okay. There you go. I'll tell you what. I hope everybody can hear me now. Yes, yes. Please say yes. Um, we're just staring at a parking lot. I know. I'm sitting here cross-legged on a curb in the shade, sweating up a storm because it's some kind of hot out here today. It's warm, sunny, humid, typical Maryland weather, but that's okay. We will survive. All right, so I'm the Bay Lady. I do tours in and around the Chesapeake Bay area, and my tours are virtual. They're tip based. So the only thing that keeps me going is the generosity of the people who watch my videos. So if you go to my website, not website, if you go to my page on Facebook or on YouTube, or on Together Virtually, you'll see some connections. There's some links, and one of them is called Buy Me a Coffee. I love coffee, and that's where you would say, hey, good job, hey, lady, we want more. So anyway, without further ado, before this thing dies or does something crazy again, let us begin this tour. All right, background. Ellicott Mills was established in 1772. There were three brothers, the Ellicott brothers, and they lived, or they came from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. They wanted to establish a mill town. They thought that there was a future in textile mills and flour mills and things of that nature. And so they needed a substantial body of water nearby to generate the electricity, or the power rather, for the mill. So what you're looking at here is the Patapsco River. This is the river that they built the town on. It's a pretty prominent river in Maryland. It stretches pretty far. It's swimmable. You could swim down there if you wanted to. So they had the river, so all they had to do then was to build the mill. And that's what you're looking at now. It was a textile mill. It's been closed for years. Why it's still standing, what they're going to do with it, I haven't a clue. But it's definitely a testimonial to what propelled this city forward. This was a working city. People did mill work. They also did stonework. The hills of Ellicott City are made of granite. That's why most of the buildings you see are made of granite. It was plentiful. So this was a hard-working community. Here is the famous Ellicott City sign in the bridge that takes you into downtown Ellicott City. I'm standing here. This is a state whose counties are separated by the river. Um, they, I'm standing in Baltimore County. Ellicott City is in Howard County. We're going to try to cross the road here while we can. It's a very busy area. There's no industry here anymore. It's all little shops and such, and a very busy little main street with all its artistic displays and such. Many, many local artists are, um, have their displays here in a lot of these little unique shops. So this is a viaduct right here. It's water. That's the Tiber River that is flowing into the Patapsco River. The Tiber River has its origins uphill. Okay, so the railroad. The railroad was really important for Ellicott Mills because it was the first one. This is where the railroad was born. The engines were built in Baltimore. The track was laid beginning in Baltimore. Track came all the way out here to Ellicott Mills. 13 miles it was. This was the original 13 miles of railroad in this country. Okay. You see the tracks are up above us there. And there's stairs going up to the tracks. This building that you're looking at, once upon a time, was the Railroad Hotel. When in the 1800s and during the Civil War in the mid 1800s, this railroad was busy with commercial and passenger uh, runs. So passengers would actually, it was quite convenient if they stayed here in the Railroad Hotel. The Patapsco Hotel. This was the Patapsco Hotel. They could see, if you see the stairs, they could come down to Main Street easily without going through the bottom floors, which was a lobby at the time. Or they could also walk across and access the train depot from up on that floor at the top of the steps. And as you can see, the buildings are made of stone, granite, same as this. Everything's granite. And that's important to note, as I will explain a little bit later. So here is the railroad station, the first railroad station in the U.S., the oldest railroad station in the U.S., right here, B&O Railroad Station. Today it's a museum, and it's free admission if you live in the area. So you might want to come give it a look. Okay, that's a station up there. The platform is up there, and in here is the station master's house and the waiting room. And I wish it was open so I could show you, but it's it was reimagined as it would have been in the 1850s, 60s, and the women have a separate waiting room. There are two waiting rooms that you would be in to board the train. Ladies had their own and men had their own. So I found that to be quite interesting. So, Civil War. The railroad had actually a huge impact on the logistics during the Civil War. The Civil War happened from 1861 to 64, something along those lines. And the states were feuding. The U.S. states were feuding. They were divided. They definitely had issues, and it got so heated and so angry that some of the states actually seceded from the Union. They left the United States. They didn't want to be a part of the United States anymore because they couldn't, they wouldn't give them the freedom to do what they wanted to do. So it ended up that many of the southern states that seceded formed their own country. We were the United States of America, all of us, once prior to that. But with the forming of the new Confederate government, we also now had the Confederate States of America. So we had the United States of America and the Confederate States of America. Now, the issue was over slavery. The North traditionally uh, was focused on freedom and didn't believe in slavery. And as a matter of fact, the North was a refuge for slaves who, if they could manage to escape the South and their masters and such, they could find safety in the North. So the war between the states is looming, and all these states start seceding from the Union. So the first thing that the federal troops did, the United States of America troops, was to take Maryland. They stomped right on in here and they captured Maryland and locked her down before they had the opportunity to secede from the Union. Now, Maryland was then considered a northern state, okay, part of the United States of America, and therefore anti slavery. But it was only like that because the US stepped in and took over and didn't let them secede from the Union. Would they have? Maybe. Maryland was divided. It was so divided. Maryland actually had, instances of brother against brother fighting on the battlefield. One because they wanted slaves, the southern to run the southern plantations and the cotton fields and tobacco and all of that. And the North, wasn't having it. So Maryland, and in particular Ellicott City, because of the location of the railroad, became a very, very, very important place. Now, this is supposed to be a ghost tour, yeah, right? Okay, well, it's going to be. Okay, I have some stories for you. Okay, one. Here we are in front of the railroad station, the museum. Okay, so from time to time, Ellicott City will do historical presentations at, different festivals and anniversaries and things of that nature. And so several times, throughout the season, they may do a Civil War reenactment. Okay. They'll reenact maybe the Battle of the Monocracy. That was probably the closest battlefield to Ellicott City. So anyway, they would be doing reenactments. So one night they were camping inside the building here. And one of the reenactors in his Union uniform came out the door here and was just smoking a last cigarette before going on in there and crashing for the night. So he's out here, just smoking a cigarette, and he sees this old man and the old dog following him coming across the street. And he says hey to the old man, and they exchange a couple of pleasantries, and then the old man starts walking away with his dog. And as he's doing that, the soldier notices the old man seems to be changing. His clothing's changing. He's getting a pep to his step. He's looking a bit younger. And his old dog is jumping around, leaping like a puppy. And then suddenly, puff, they vanished. They were gone. The soldier was kind of scratching his head, not sure exactly what it was that he saw. So he goes back inside to talk to his fellow reenactor buddies there, and was asking around, giving the description of the guy. Hey, have you seen so and so? Nope, nobody saw him. No record of him. No record of anybody missing. So let your imagination figure that one out, right? Also, one uh, uh, office worker in one of the restaurants down here. There's quite a few restaurants, or there were at the lower end of Main Street here at the time. But anyway, a restaurant employee had come out to smoke a cigarette. It was right across the street from here. Everybody smokes cigarettes in these stories, don't they? Anyway, so he came out to smoke a cigarette and saw a little boy over here in front of the railroad station. And of course, nobody's about. I mean, it's nighttime, and like I said, this guy's working in the restaurant. He comes out for a smoke break and sees this little kid. And this little kid's sniffling, and so the restaurant guy goes over to the child and starts talking to him and asked him what was wrong. And he said he was looking for his mommy. He wanted to find his mommy. So the restaurant worker said to the little boy, okay, that's fine. I can help you with that. Not a problem. And so he took the little boy by the hand and began to walk him across this very street here. And before he got to the other side, the little boy disappeared. The poor restaurant worker, looked around here, there, and everywhere, and couldn't see him. So it's imagined that perhaps he had been separated from his mother, and one of the many disasters that have befallen Ellicott City over the generations and such. There is one, well, not one, there's a few, but one of the ghost stories that that are well known here has gained a lot of notoriety. And to show you, there's the Tiber River. There were buildings standing here, by the way. Two of them that are now not. And this river ran right under them. Oops, better catch the light. Okay. All right, so this building here is the tallest building in Ellicott City. Okay. Okay, it's way 5 floors. Oh, the sun is too bright. Okay, 5 floors, tallest building in Ellicott City. Always was, still is. Okay, it's been a couple of things here. It's been the old Patapsco Hotel. It was also called the Railroad Inn. It was the town hall. It was the opera house. It was the provost marshal's office. The newspaper was here once upon a time. The Oddfellows Lodge. There was Rodney's Amusement Emporium. Okay, a lot of different things. But since 1985, it's been occupied by just one owner, the owners of the Forget-Me-Not Factory, which is what we're standing in front of here. Give you a quick little look. They're not open today. The majority of these shops close on Mondays, as well as the Railroad Museum. So that's the Forget-Me-Not Factory. And what's really, really cool about it is that it's built into the rocks. It's you can't see it because it's too dark. The back wall is the granite. It's built right into the granite. Oh, you can't see. Let me see. Nah, it's not going to work. Yeah, right into it. Getting some Oh, are you really? Thunderstorms. Where are you at? Huh. Well, you know what? You can come back and finish watching it because it'll stay on Facebook and YouTube for, I don't know, 30 days or something. So you can go back and check it out. So, okay. So back to this tallest building. Okay. I have another good story for you. Okay. So check that out. Those stairs go way, 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 way up. And you see the rock, right? There are 7 hills that surround Ellicott City. 7 hills that that are made of a particular type of granite that isn't found anywhere else. So you can see, I mean, how many of these buildings, how much the stone created the city, okay? Their very own granite. Okay, so civil wars are raging. They had just had the Battle of the Monocracy. The Monocracy is a river up in the mountains, not all that far from here. And when they did, there were soldiers that had been captured and such. So Ellicott City, they had their own uh, troops, their own, division of soldiers that were part of the Union Army, but they were specifically for Ellicott City. They existed before the Civil War. They're called the Patapsco Guards. Okay, so during the Civil War, that was their headquarters right here. This was the headquarters for the Patapsco Guards. Now, remember, I mentioned several times that it's a very tall building, 5 stories high. It was up on the 5th story that they kept the Confederate prisoners that had been captured and also the Union deserters that had been captured. And they were all, hey, and they were all packed in there on that 5th floor, which, became like rampant with disease and such. And it was their headquarters. So meanwhile, there's a Confederate soldier that had been captured up by the viaduct, upriver a bit, up the Patapsco River, by the railroad tracks. Okay, the railroad tracks went over the bridge that went over the Patapsco River up there. So anyway, this Confederate soldier managed to escape, and he managed to escape and found himself following the railroad tracks. He thought that they were going that the tracks were going to take him south, to home, to safe territory, what have you. But instead, he came north. This is where the tracks ended in the northerly direction, and so this is where he came to the end of his line. Totally freaked out, this poor runaway soldier, POW, didn't know what to do. Somehow he found himself in this building. Maybe he was trying to blend in. I don't know with what, because he was Confederate. But anyway, he ended up in this building. And he went on one of the upper floors where he was spotted by 2 of the Union soldiers, 2 of the Patapsco Guard. The building's crawling with them, right? And this fool runs in here to hide. Anyway, he comes bursting out the door up here. You see the steps, right? He comes bursting up the steps, out the door, running for his life. 2 Union soldiers, hot on his tail, guns drawn. They fire. They shoot him in the back. It hits him so hard that it knocks him the rest of the way down the stairs to the bottom, where he lay, eyes wide open, seeing nothing. He died. And so the story goes that on a moonless night, it has to be moonless. If you're here, you're walking by here, you glance up those steps, you may just see that poor soldier falling to his death and coming to lie at the bottom of your feet. Okay? It replays itself, and it has to do with the granite. Okay, paranormal experts have been all over Ellicott City. There are so many theories, but I believe if there's a theory to believe, I'm hooked on the granite. The granite absorbs energy. The river is part of it too. The river produces energy. That's how they run the mills. So the river, and it's right there across the street, running straight through the town. The granite is surrounding Ellicott City on 4 sides. I'm sorry, on 7 sides, 7 hills. Right? So anyway, that is the legend here about the guy that came tumbling down the stairs. Okay, now if we walk up here a little bit, so today people in the store here, and actually, I don't think there are apartments up there because I know the store is at least 3 of those floors. It goes way, way up against the granite, definitely. But and see all of the granite here as well. Anyway, people that work in this building, they say they report hearing noises and things from that very top floor, like I don't know, furniture scraping across the floor when there isn't any, and cold drafts and things of that nature. And it's oh wow, interesting ship. It's attributed to all the um, all the soldiers. Look at all these hiding places, boy. Another staircase. All the soldiers that were imprisoned on that 5th floor. Um, some of them became quite ill from disease. The winter, particularly the winter of 1864, was unbearable. It was cold, colder than any other on record. It was just freezing, and people couldn't keep warm. And there was a lot of disease and stuff going through at the time. There was a horrible flu. You had dysentery and things of that nature. So a lot of the soldiers held on that top floor, some of them passed away. So it's rumored that they really didn't go very far. They're still around, making their presence known. So there's one more building up here that I want to show you before we go back down. Okay, so up on your right, just past the construction area here, there's a little shop that says Ready Set Stitch. It's a like a crochet knitting store, what have you. That's what it is at the moment. A while back, though, for years, it was a toy store for many, many generations. Oh, look at this. Look how these buildings, like they meet in the corner. Ellicott City is a phenomenal example of strange architecture. That is for sure. Okay, so what I want to show you is right across the street here, this little shop that you're looking at, little 2-story shop. Once upon a time, during the Civil War, it was occupied by a couple who had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, and they had a shop downstairs. and they, were enjoying a pretty good business. Unfortunately, they were here during that horrible winter of 1864. Um, that winter was so bad. My own very own great 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 grandfather died in a Confederate prison during that winter. He was captured at Gettysburg. He was a Union soldier. Anywho, so the children got sick. Okay, they caught that hard flu that had been going around, and the mortality rate, unfortunately, was high. So, in that upper floor, the children had their bedroom upstairs, and so that is where their mother nursed them, tried to nurse them back to health. Unfortunately, all three children passed away. The parents, the heartbroken parents, um, moved away. They were gone. And so a few years went on, or what have you, and eventually new people, came in and out of the building. And at one point, a couple had bought the building, and they had the downstairs floor as a toy shop. And soon after it opened, residents of Ellicott City here, on people on Main Street, reported walking by the little shop and at nighttime and seeing little blue orbs of light. Okay, this guy should stop for me. They should all stop. He did not. He did. See how people break the law. Thank you. Okay. So anyway, people would walk by this building right here and they would see these little orbs of light dancing around. And eventually they dance on up the stairs and disappear through the floor up to the level that used to be their bedroom. So I don't know if that's still happening today. Haven't heard, but that was the story, and sticking to it. Definitely. Okay, so I got one more story for you. It's an intense story about a tragedy. Ellicott City is no stranger to tragedies. Oh, shoot, I shouldn't be walking out the street here. Get over to the sidewalk. There we go. It's not like they give you a place to walk particularly. Wait. Anyway. Okay. So, I mentioned the river, the Patapsco River, the mighty river that generates the power that kept the mill running, kept the little town of Ellicott Mills prospering and growing. Okay, but the water, with all its advantages, unfortunately brought with it some disadvantages as well. I showed you the Tiber River, which runs underneath the town. It starts way, 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 way up that hill, way up that hill, and eventually empties into the Patapsco River. So there have been, oh gosh, there have been probably half a dozen occasions over the years where the um, the river had caused some major flooding. Uh, People had, been had areas washed away and such. This area, this downtown area that you are looking at, there I can't tell you how many times it has flooded. The last flood, um, just a couple of years ago, they're still recovering from. And as a matter of fact, this right here used to have two buildings, and both were damaged from the last flood. And when I wasn't looking, they took them down. They're gone. Okay. And they're part of my story too. So after the Civil War was over and life settled down, um, life went on, the community grew, everyone was happy, da 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 da. Well, one day in 1868, um, well, that's not going to work. I was looking for a place to sit. In 1868, it was a typical day. Um, there were shops here. Shop owners, were open. It was like late afternoon, and suddenly they had a horrific thunderstorm, rainstorm. It was incredible the amount of rain that fell that day. The river Patapsco rose 25 feet in the space of 1/2 hour. 25 feet in just a half hour's time. Okay. So, what that created, unfortunately, all the water had to go somewhere. It started upriver, okay, up Baltimore way, up north, and started rolling south. A bit up the river at the time was a granite factory, a granite mill, sat right along the banks. Well, the river rose so much, it created a wall of water. And when that wall of water hit the granite mill, it took it down. 25-foot thick walls. It took it down. Okay. So here comes now, besides this rushing wall of water, here comes all this debris from everything that the rushing wall of water took out along its way. Now, at the time, there was let's see, the the gray building that you see there was stables. They had hay and horses and things of that nature, and did some carpentry. Next to it, here on the corner, it's gone now, was another building that was a furniture store, and they also made coffins. Okay, so over here, okay, here we've got the railroad tracks, right? Here's Ellicott City. Here's the river. Okay. Now, on the other side of this bridge, there was a row of homes. Okay, on the other side of the wall, there was a row of homes on this kind of like little like island in the middle of the river here. Okay, right, and a little island like. Okay, and on that little island were a row of, oh, there's a deer. She's looking at me. There was a row of new homes, newly constructed homes. This is 1868, newly constructed homes. Look at the deer walking towards the water. Right there, look at that. Well, anyway, so there was a doctor who lived in one of those homes. There were 13 of them. And he lived there, and the storm was coming. They could see the cloud, the sky darkening and all. And his wife did not want him to leave, but he had gotten word that somebody in town needed his services. He was a doctor and all. Look at this deer just standing there. Are you seeing it? Oh my goodness, it's a white-tailed deer. Look at that. A young one, too. Fearless, no doubt. Anyway, oh my goodness, I keep getting distracted from my story. So, Dr. Leaves comes to town, takes care of whatever, and back down here on Main Street, and the sky has gotten so dark. And so dark that the shopkeepers started closing up their shops because couldn't see. They had to light the lamps, right? Couldn't see, so they started closing up. And as they got wind of what was going on, that the river had flooded and such, some of those people decided to go on up the hill here and watch from up here. And also, there's a hill on the other side of the railroad tracks. So they went up on the hill to, see what was going on. Anyway, so back to the granite factory. When those blocks of granite spit tumbling down the river, it swept out, it took down everything in its path. It struck the first of the 13 homes, took it down. The next, and it's the debris crashing into the bottoms of the homes, knocking them in pieces into the water. Look into the water. Look at this beautiful deer in the water. Oh my gosh. Look at you. He's looking right at me. Wow. Okay, back to the scary story. Anyway, the doctor was up on the hill and he was yelling to his wife, who was in the house with all their children. They had 5 children in the house and also a family of servants that lived there too. So he was yelling at them to get higher, to get up onto the roof, to get higher. So one of the servants, the male, he put a hole in the roof. He got up into the attic and put a hole in the roof and helped his family and the doctor's wife and kids up through the hole. And then some other people that lived in the houses left their house and came onto their roof. As the houses are coming down, the debris knocking them down one by one. And so they would go to the next roof and the next roof and the next roof until finally they were on the last roof and it went down. 36 people lost their lives that day. 36 men, women, and children died when that river rose and it took down the factory, cleared everything in its path, and just sent it crashing into that row of homes in the middle of the river. So, ghost stories, yeah. The building that's not here anymore, that was the restaurant. Remember, I told you this. Oh, that's okay. I told you this story about the restaurant and the tiles in front of the railroad station, and the person and restaurant employee to help him in his hand started to walk him across the street, and poof, he disappeared. Okay, well, it's assumed that the child was one from the flood looking for his parents. Also, in the building that was the barn that they boarded horses and stuff, the one right in front of you there, the gray building, that is where they had brought some of the bodies for identification. And shopkeepers and customers that have gone into the building have reported hearing little girl voices giggling and flashing an image of 2 little girls in their old-fashioned little nightgowns. So again, thought to have been part of the victims of the flood. There is also across the street in the building that was an older gentleman that would be walking around and kind of inviting the folks in or what have you. And they believe that he is the spirit of a construction worker that was killed when they were building this building when a wall collapsed. So, and they think that would be him. Let's see what else. Oh, one more. Next to the building that's gone, the one next to it that's now gone, was one of four funeral homes in Ellicott City. Okay, four funeral homes located on Main Street, and for years the employees at the funeral home, it was Eastman and Sons, would complain of smelling formaldehyde, and also there was a spirit on the outside that kept waving people in, a female that would, welcome people to come on in or what have you. And actually, that story concluded, the owners of the shop had brought a psychic or a paranormal expert in to, see what they could see. And anyway, that's how they knew who it was. The paranormal expert, had a conversation, I guess, of sorts with the ghostly woman and told her she wasn't needed here anymore, and the ghost was never seen again. So, yeah, right. Now, I have a question. I have a really good question for you guys. Okay. Now, I've mentioned a couple times the buildings that are gone, right? And the ghosts that used to haunt them. The little boy, the construction worker, um, the um, the funeral home, the lady, the woman that was inviting everyone in. Um, so those buildings are gone. So answer me this: where'd the spirits go? Where's the ghosts? Are they where? The buildings are gone. What happened to the ghost? Well, folks, this is it. I am done with my stories. I hope you enjoyed this new little spin on Ellicott City. I was just so amazed. Ellicott City has so much history that I could isolate just one part of it, just one time period, and do a whole tour out of it. Good figure, right? Unbelievable. And that took an hour too. Look at that. It's almost 4 o'clock. I didn't know if it would take an hour, but it did. All right, friends. Well, it's time for me to find my air conditioned car because I am sweaty and I need something cold to drink. And yeah, so I don't know when my next tour is. It might be Fleet Week or it might be Federal Hill. At any rate, the info is on my Facebook page, The Bay Lady, and my YouTube channel, The Bay Lady. So, and of course, I'm on Together Virtually. So, y'all have a good rest of the week and a nice weekend if I don't see you before. Take care, and I hope you enjoyed Haunted Ellicott Mills, Spirits of the Civil War. Let me turn it around so I can say a proper goodbye. Wait, that would be rude to just sign off without turning my camera around. So I will do that. Did I do that? No, come on now. Up there we go. And there I am. All right. So I want to say hey to everybody. Um, I'm totally gone. Oh, goodness me. I know, Sarah. I was having a heck of a time. But I made it back. Yay. Nice to meet you, Barbara. Helsinki. I'd like to know more about Helsinki. Wow. You guys are busy talking, having a great old time. I missed the conversation. Too much sunshine and glare. Alrighty, well, take care, guys. I'm out of here. Bye.